Hey guys, I hope everyone's doing well today. Welcome to my first live, even though you're not in this live with me. I'm just recording a longer video, but maybe one day I will go live and hang out with everyone. But for now, I'm just trying to film a longer video for you guys. I have my entire notebook of chicken scratch notes that I've been meaning to just make videos on, and the topics are a lot longer, so can't really fit them into a 1.5-minute video. I've tried and it's been very frustrating, so hopefully this works a lot better. But yeah, let's start with let's start diving into mental disorders, because this is a big one, and the umbrella of it all, it's a lot, guys, and it breaks off into a lot of different categories because there are many different types of mental disorders, and I will touch mainly on, not today, but in another video. Today I'm just going to go over the broad spectrum of mental disorders as a whole and what they mean as far as spiritually. In future videos, I'm going to break down how exactly like personality disorders form. So that's kind of more so my forte out of all of the mental disorders and whatnot. That's the ones that I've studied the most heavily over the past 15 years or so, if not more. And yeah, ever since coming to the Lord, He's shown me even deeper aspects of them as far as demon possession and demon oppression goes. Because as we know, well, as if you didn't, now you know, those are two different things. So oppression is more so where demonic influences are attempting to gain access to you. If you've ever had a panic attack, that is a surefire way to know that a demon is attempting to gain access to you. Anxiety, anything like that. So those are extreme telltale signs of demonic oppression. Possession, again, I will go into much of a deeper explanation, but possession is definitely different in the sense that the demon has entered you. The demon has entered you, and the demon has a lot more control over not only you, but your moral coding, your empathy, everything that your soul encompasses. So at that point of possession, the demon pretty much overall takes over your not only spirit but your soul. With oppression, the demon can play around with your spirit, but it can't mess with your soul. So I hope that makes sense. So your moral coding is still there. You still feel remorse. So that's a very huge key factor. If you can feel remorse for an action that you may have been influenced to do. So I'll give you an example. When I was younger, I struggled deeply with borderline symptoms. And I remember being very rageful and angry and just internally in a lot of pain and confusion that I didn't understand. And I lashed out greatly at the ones that I loved, and I would say disgusting, horrible things to them. But while I would be saying those things and yelling those things, I would be crying my eyes out. And I remember, like, so vividly looking back, that I was internally in my mind, I was saying to something, stop, I love them, stop. Like I was actually battling against something that was spewing these horrible things out of my mouth. So it's something that I know that I'm speaking to someone right now who's experienced this, who's experienced a time where they had they didn't have any control over their emotions. They didn't have any control over the vial that was coming out of their mouths. And it's scary. Like, it is. I remembered, like, just thinking back then in those times, like, I was in my teens and early 20s, and it was just sad, you guys. Like, I was struggling bad, and I was fighting against demons attempting to take me over. So that ultimately, again, I'll get deeper into that in another episode, I guess, talking about the differences between borderline and narcissists. And again, this is purely separate. So someone can absolutely be both at once, but I'm talking about just pure borderline and pure narcissistic personality disorder. So we'll get into those another day, but they are very, very different as far as possession and oppression. So let's just chat about mental disorders as a whole. I kind of just wrote a little something down, like a precursor to overall. So when people use their demon possession as a security blanket, they basically have Stockholm syndrome with a demon. So, facts. They may think they're following God, yet they're dependent on mental medications or continue to speak as if the demonic possession is their identity, which keeps... Y'all, I cannot understand my handwriting. Which keeps ringing up that contract agreement with that demon. If you say, I have, like, you're identifying with your disorder. It's not your disorder. It's a demon. But if you're identifying with it and you're continuously saying, like, my something or other, or I have XYZ, then you're continuing to follow in that agreement with that demon. They're tricky like that, you guys. They're very tricky, and yeah, we'll go further in a second. But yeah, you're giving permission to that demon to have dominion over you unless you are filled with the Holy Spirit and have been delivered. So, yeah, guys, honestly, it's just, when you see it, you see it. And it's kind of like, I'm trying to think of good ways to describe this, but life and death really, really is in the tongue, you guys. And again, so I'll use myself for an example. When I was delivered, I guess 3 years ago now, but the Lord had already started healing me and working on me long before that. And looking back, it's really cool to see how he started off with me, like pruning me, I guess. But I started to become more aware of there was something going on with me that I knew couldn't be me, because if there was a part of me that was fighting against it, then how could that other part be me if I'm actively fighting against it? If I'm actively crying my eyes out and saying, I don't want this. If I'm going to my room and wanting to end it all because I don't want to hurt people, I don't want to be mean, then that right there shows that something is oppressing you, that something is trying to suppress you, that something is trying to get you gone. Something wants you out of this world. And I made another video talking about this very thing. In essence, too, if you have struggled with stuff like this throughout your life, if you have been a loner, if you have been a very, very deeply loving and empathetic person, I say if you have been, if you are, and you never really understood why you felt like you're constantly attacked by something demonic. Back then, I didn't believe in demons. I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in anything. I just knew that there was something evil in me. And I had no idea how it got there. I had no idea what it was. And so that's what Satan's banking on. He's banking on the fact that you don't know him. You don't know he exists. You don't know God. You don't know anything. And he's banking on that because then he can manipulate you into thinking that it is you. And of course, if you are a God-breathed, a God-soul individual, you're going to feel shameful. You're going to feel remorse. You're going to feel hatred and contempt towards yourself because you then start to view yourself as evil when it's not you. Yes, granted, our flesh is corrupt. So that's not what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about you as a whole. You start to think, maybe I don't have a soul, maybe there's something so wrong with me, but I can assure you, if you feel remorse, if you don't want to be that way, then that's not true at all. The issue comes when remorse is not present. And that is where we could dive into narcissism and sociopathy and psychopathy. Now, those are something that we will have to go a lot deeper into another time. But I will say that if anyone is watching this that struggles with anything that I just talked about, God has his hand on you. If you feel deep remorse in your heart, if you feel deep empathy, if you feel like your internal dialogue, your internal monologue is arguing against something else, is fighting against something else that is trying to bully you ultimately into doing bad, into saying bad things, and overall, if you're just struggling deeply and internally with your emotions, that's a very big one because Satan loves to play with our emotions. If he can get into our mind and play with he can play with our emotions. And once he can play with our emotions, he has a hold on you. So, yeah, it's a lot, guys. It's definitely a lot. And it's a lot. But I just ultimately really want to be able to explain this better to any and everyone that need this. Because I know that there are a lot of people suffering out there who hate themselves and they think they just talk so badly about themselves. Like the things I used to say to myself, like you guys, I used to look in the mirror and just say the most disgusting, horrible things to myself. Way worse than things that I would even say to anyone else. It's crazy. Like, it really is. It's wild how desperate Satan is to take out the children of God. He's so desperate, guys. It's pathetic. It's really pathetic. And I think the ultimate thing is, once God's children wake up to who they really are in Him, once they finally come to Jesus and start the sanctification process, are filled with the Holy Spirit, once that happens, the children that Satan put through all of that, you best believe we're coming for you. We're coming for you, Satan. You best believe. Because he tried to take your life, but now you know the truth. I mean, he's already lost. But he's still going to try to take more souls with him, and we're not going to let that happen. In Jesus' mighty name, he really thought. I want everyone to say that right now. Satan, you thought. You really thought. But anyway. Alright, I'm going to go and organize these notes a little bit better so I can have a more organized video for you guys next time. But for my first long form video, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and until next time, God bless you guys. Bye.